Okay, technically we're live. I'm just haven't turned on the camera yet. And you can afflict anyone you want in my audience, Richie, because I think 90% of my audience is you. So let's go ahead and make everyone sick by turning on the camera. Howdy, folks. Let's change it up a little bit in case anyone else wants to join in. There. Bad math. I'm sorry, I'm bad at timing things properly. Alrighty. And I did get a new mug, which, except, well, this time it's Mickey Mouse. I do like the fact that it has the reverse design on the reverse side. And it even says Mickey Mouse on the inside of it. And like the other ones, which are now actually on the store. The 4 previous mugs that were used on the live streams are on the store's CNA mugs tab or filter. So if you want one of them, you can buy one of them there. I was just being sarcastic, Mr. Miles. But for the alcohol portion, I thought I'd try one of DJ's favorites. This time I'm adding a little bit of Screwball. I don't know how well it'll go with the coffee, but well, trying something new. Can't do Bailey's every time. And again, since I'm in the storage unit, there will be no nicotine until after I finish my coffee, so I can go downstairs, back into the car. So, well, I can understand you passing on the nicotine, but you should at least add some alcohol for it, or else you're not going to have your balanced breakfast. Yeah, Screwball's not bad. Can't really. I heard it tastes like peanut butter. I've never had it before, but I can't really taste the peanut butter aspect of it. But yeah, the previous mugs, like the first one, the Batman mug, the Superman mug, the Kahlua mug from last time. And let me move some stuff out of the way so I can put the Wonder Woman mug on the shelf. Now, I did add some other ones to the category that weren't actually drunk, used on the streams. And that includes the Fallout mug, mostly because I didn't want to use this one because it's got the nice little box. And I also included the 2 Reese's Pieces or Reese's mugs. But they are in a box over that way, so I'm not going to try to get those out right now. But yeah, Mr. Miles, do you mind if I talk about what we've been talking about, or you want to keep that a secret? I gotta wait for a response. It's just kind of weird being on here by myself. I definitely need some people to join in just so it doesn't seem so sad. Oh, and yeah, I'm wearing the pink and white one with the green on it. Well, I don't know. You don't like having the attention, so I'm gonna have Mr. Miles actually edit the next TOS review, the arena one, mostly because all the stuff that happened last month with Caddy's family made it so that we didn't get it out nearly in time, which is why it was about a month late. Yes, attention, Mr. Miles. And because of that, hey, sweetheart, Caddy Knight's in the chat. Mr. Miles is going to edit the next one for us so we can try to get it out hopefully within the next couple of weeks. And yeah, so there won't be a 2-month delay this time like there was last time. Plus, the way the script was written, as well as the way we recorded Arena much like we do more of the Voltron videos. So hopefully it'll be a lot shorter. I don't see this one being more than, even with the GameSwap commercial and the title credits and everything, I don't see it being more than 10 minutes long, not almost 20 like Squire of Gothos was. And howdy, Cinnabon. Oh, Caddy, if you want to join the chat, you can, of course. I posted the link before. Let me know if you can see it. I know Richie can't, and Mr. Miles probably won't. But Cinnabon, you can also join up if you can. That way I'm not sitting here just talking to myself. It doesn't matter if you're doing anything special, Mr. Miles. It's the fact that you're helping me out. And that's what I appreciate. And looks like we have Caddy in the house. So let's go ahead and add her to the stream.
Hello.
Howdy, sweetheart. How are things going up in Poway?
I've been up for an hour and still have not made food.
Well, you should eat. Don't have what I'm having for breakfast, of course, but...
What are you having for breakfast? Coffee?
Coffee with screwball added.
God damn it, mother. I think I can make some oatmeal. There's some instant oatmeal that my mother bought. Too tired to make anything else.
Are you adding milk or are you adding water?
Water.
You should try adding milk instead of water.
Why?
Because it makes the oatmeal better.
Shit.
So even when I'm doing a solo stream, the only person willing to join me is Caddy. That's sad. my best person on my live stream is my co-host of the file reviews. even when she's 20 miles away.
I should have joined on my other phone so I could be playing Duel Links on this one.
Oh, so you can duel people again during a live stream?
Yep.
I still need to add Nightbreeze. Unfortunately, I accidentally deleted the screenshot I took of his ID number, so he told me to just get it from you.
I will.
So. Richie, is that some way of saying that I don't know how to edit? Because You're right. I don't really know how to edit, but still. No worries, Cinnabon. I know what it's like trying to do stuff while you're driving. Because I did the same. I drove a little bit during Sci-Fi Nation's live stream when me and Caddy were on his. What was actually kind of funny is during his live stream, while we were parked in the parking lot of one of the in a store, this guy walks up to us and hands us a Christian tract. You know,
Yep.
And I'm just like, this is what happens to me all the time. Someone just walks up to me and tries to proselytize to me in one way or another. But what's even funnier on camera. Because I guess I have one of those faces where they're like, oh, let's go ahead and, convert that guy or make sure he's worshiping the right way. But the really funny part was later that week, I ran into the same guy who tried to hand me another copy of the same one. And it took him a second to realize that I was the same guy he talked to earlier, because I mentioned the whole Jack trick chick was fucking nuts. And he got really irate with me. And that what I also know is that particular store does not appreciate people putting stuff on people's windshields and like this guy was doing, or harassing the customers. So as a little bit of a passive aggressiveness, I told the security guys, and they had him escorted off the premises.
In a matter of 3 days, I've watched Newsies 62 times. That is a joke. Reaching that soon, though.
As I said, Mr. Miles, I don't care how you edit it. It's all your thing at that point. I'm not going to complain.
He doesn't have to edit a video.
I just want you to get your recognition for it. I don't know if you saw it. I sent you an updated copy of the intro credits last night, and I changed it up so that it actually has special guest editor Mr. Miles at the end of the title credits. But as for that, you know what I mean, Mr. Miles. I don't care, but I'm not going to be a dick about the whole thing, because you're awesome. But for Richie, I don't know if I've shown this on the live stream, but I do have my copy of The Gospel of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. Unfortunately, it's the paperback. And I have God Speaks, the Flying Spaghetti Monster in his own words. And what's funny about this one is basically it does the whole numerology thing, but applies it to this book to come up with things that are hidden, like the hidden things of the Bible. This is hidden things in the Gospel of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. So, let's see. Like, let me go to a random page in the middle. I'll just read it, but this is Dolly the sheep. She was a whore. Code name 6LL3. This ewe was the first mammal to ever been successfully cloned from an adult cell. And just talks about that. That sheep absolutely loved to fuck, said Seamus McCracken, a top researcher. Other sheep, stockmen, even the sheepdog. She was insatiable. Let's see.
I've made oatmeal.
Congratulations.
And I've put fucking sugar on it.
Here's the mathematical proof of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. Given the flying spaghetti monster is frequently represented as FSM, existence is the opposite of non-existence, therefore not null. Null is frequently represented as 0. We will use brackets to show non-equivalence. Therefore, to prove that flying spaghetti monster exists, we must prove that the FSM is non-equivalent to 0. In physics, force is equal to mass times acceleration, or F equals ma. Bobby Henderson is a physics graduate, so we can substitute this above equation, giving us MASM equals 0, or is non-equivalent to 0. That makes MASM non-equivalent to 0. And it just basically compiles on forth until you can get to the fact that the flying spaghetti monster cannot possibly equal 0 in mathematical terms, therefore he must exist.
He's more likely than God to exist.
Well, it's a joke on the fact that FSM are all variables in other equations. Like the whole F part of FSM is being replaced by mass times acceleration. That's why it went from FSM to MASM. So as long as you can prove that one is not equivalent to 0, you can prove damn near anything mathematically. And I'm drinking from the wrong thing again.
Good job, Father. All I really know right now is that I want to go watch Newsies again.
You really like your musicals, don't you?
I do. I love them. And also maybe the fact that Jeremy Jordan plays the main character, and the fact that Jeremy Jordan can't dance, and this is a 90% dancing musical, and at the end of it, when they're doing the bows, he tries to do like a jump kick and just almost falls on his face. And I find that funny. So I will watch the whole musical just to get to that one bit.
What was the first musical you ever saw, though?
Yeah, it was Phantom of the Opera.
Because you know what I think it was? And I think this whole musical thing of yours is traced back to a mistake I made.
What?
I let you watch Shrek the musical.
No, I watched Phantom before it.
You really? I would assume you went and saw Shrek first.
No. I had watched Phantom when I was very little. Because my mother's family, had me watch Phantom as like I'm old enough to watch this now kind of thing.
Yeah, but you watched Shrek when you were like 7.
And I watched Phantom when I was like 5.
Oh. And did Daria have a musical, Mr. Miles? Because I don't remember that. I haven't seen that show, though, since I was like much younger than Caddy is now. And I would certainly count South Park, Bigger, Longer, Uncut as a musical, considering it has like 10 songs in it. God, I don't remember Daria's musical episode.
The only thing I could think that may count as a musical that I saw before Phantom is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the musical episode.
Well, it's definitely a musical episode, so I think it would count as a musical.
So that might be where all of this comes from, because I know we had gotten that soundtrack before I had watched Phantom.
Yeah, a lot of shows are actually able to pull off a decent musical episode, because Buffy did it. Psych and Scrubs both had some really good musical episodes, in my opinion.
Walk Through the Fire will forever be stuck in my head.
Yes, I know you loved that song. Or love that song. So that's one of the songs from Buffy, if you guys don't know.
Each musical has one song that will always end up getting stuck in my head. And sometimes it's not even like the big song that everyone loves.
Mm-hmm. Well, I always like the villain
Hamilton,
songs, so
yes.
because for some reason, a guy who's screen name for over 20 years is Vile Mike identifies with the villain songs most of the time.
Because Walk Through Fire is my favorite from Buffy. Music of the Night is my favorite from Phantom. Shrek the Musical actually has changed its favorite. I still love, oh god, what's its name? But
all right, Mr.
it
Miles,
has
by
changed.
Sanctuary. Hold on for a sec, sweetheart. Mr. Miles, by Sanctuary, do you mean the Amanda Tapping show? Because I stopped watching that after like the second season, maybe somewhere during the second season. Mostly because I just got kind of lost interest in it. I mean, I love Amanda Tapping, but the rest of it was just kind of to me. And yeah, I think a lot of the old Disney movies would count as musicals. I think that any movie that has more than 6 songs, or at least 6 songs, would count as a musical. So, but if it only has like 1 in there, it does not really count as a musical.
Then 90% of Disney could be counted as a musical.
That's what I was saying.
But no, I believe a musical actually has to have more sung words than spoken words to be counted as a musical. Otherwise, it is just counted either as a play and or a movie.
Yeah, well, a musical movie would still, I would, as I said, would count as long as it has at least 6 songs in there, enough for a half decent soundtrack.
Yeah.
So, I would count Aladdin as a musical. I would count The Lion King as a musical.
Not the new one. The new one's shit. The new one is counted as a pile of shit.
Yeah, I would agree there. The new one was just
bad.
I don't know. I did not enjoy it.
See, my question is, why did Scar? It was like his song was like it's just like slow creeping, and then all of a sudden it goes opera. Why? Explain yourself.
Yeah, they really butchered the Scar song on that one, because the first one was really good.
Amazing.
I mean, the first the song we're talking about is the what is it called, sweetheart?
Be prepared.
Be prepared. That song is actually so good that you don't notice unless you're really paying attention. And me and Caddy did one time. Mm-hmm. To the change in when Jeremy's Irons voice cuts out because he hurt his voice, and Winnie the Pooh's actor took over for the song.
But it's such a subtle change that you cannot tell it unless you are literally focusing on the song.
It's like about, what was it, 2/3 to 73/4 of the way through the song. It changes over to Winnie the Pooh.
I believe it's when he does the "You won't get a sniff without me." I believe that's when it does it, because it's such a hard line.
Yeah, but we when we were listening to it, we noticed it was actually the line right after that one.
It is the line right after that one.
Yeah, we obviously noticed it, Mr. Miles. We went through, and after we heard about it, we went through the song, and we were trying to listen to exactly when it happens.
But I'm just sitting here thinking, like, I have had Newsies stuck in my head for like the past few days, and it may be the fact that I've basically just been watching it on repeat and nothing else.
You need to watch more classic stuff.
No.
I don't think Newsies is considered a classic.
I'm sorry, but Jeremy Jordan almost falling during the bows is funny to me. Because I'm sorry, you
Yeah.
cannot get a better Jack Kelly than Jeremy Jordan.
Mr. Miles, when you were listening to it, because when we were listening to it, we figured that the point where, and I wish I could remember his name. I think it's Jim Cummings, but I'm probably wrong about that. The guy who does the voice for Winnie the Pooh. Right after Jeremy Irons goes, "You won't get a sniff without me," and I did a horrible version of it.
Good job.
But he does that line. Then the next line after that is still Jeremy Irons, but everything after that line is Winnie the Pooh. And
Which I think funny.
But again, because the song is just so good, you can't even tell.
And then they horribly butchered it.
Yeah, the new one was just bad. Oh,
Singing
Ricky
in the
brings
Rain
up
is
one
good.
thing. Oh, you have seen it?
Yes, I have. It's good. It's not one of my favorites, but I will admit it is very good.
You know what's funny, sweetheart?
Hmm?
Is I've actually never seen some of the musicals you're talking about. Like I've never the musical, the version you're talking about, the musical version of Phantom of the Opera, I've never seen. Newsies, I've actually never seen. Singing in the Rain, I've never seen.
So, he watched me. He basically kind of made me watch Reaper the Genetic Opera, and I ended up loving it.
Howdy, Jitsi, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah, I was talking to him earlier on Twitter about possibly doing artwork similar to what Annie Trekker and DJ have. And since he's here now, I thought I'd ask you guys what you think would be a good image that you'd like to see in Jitsi's style of Vile Mike, or at least of the channel. Because I think the only things we mostly discussed would be a stylized thing of me with a bandana on, obviously.
Because you guys don't see me very much, and you don't know actually what my avatar looks like.
Well, they know that your Vile Reviews avatar is an Endorian with pink hair.
Yes, it is. Oh, I have to go. I am getting a call.
All right. I'll talk to you later, sweetheart. Oh, and she just hung up. Jeez. Yes, we all know that she's the real star, but the channel is Vile Mike, not Catty Knight. She's technically got her own channel and Instagram and Twitter, although her Twitter is related to the store. Although she's not doing her job. Her whole job for the Twitter thing is to do one tweet every day. And other than retweeting my tweets, I don't think she's done anything in the last week and a half. Sorry, I got an email. Oh, we got a guest. Oh, it's Caddy again.
No, my uncle was just hi. My uncle
You're
called
back.
me and told me. Yes, my uncle called me to tell me that he's dropping something off.
I like Richie. Well, okay, Vile, you can be in the avatar too, in the background.
Yeah.
I thank you for the support, Richie. I appreciate it. You know, when I finally start making more videos again, when I can, when I have the time, you know, not all my videos are going to have Caddy in them. And eventually she's going to graduate high school, and you will graduate high school. And she won't be able to be on the channel. So what? Am I just going to lose all my the few subscribers I have?
Yes. They're only here for me. They're only here for me. You should know this.
You know what's really sad, sweetheart?
Hmm.
Is I think last month I actually got more views on the old Zelda timeline video than I did on like the third episode of or the first 3 episodes of the TOS reviews combined.
Oh shit.
And no, Caddy does not need to be holding a phaser. She does not need to have a phaser.
I definitely need to have a phaser. Just in my head, all I can think is the song Santa Fe from Newsies.
Hold on. I'm going to move my little thing over here. Maybe block some of that light a little bit more.
Santa Fe.
Is that a little bit better, guys? Because one of the things I was thinking is like having the SD game swap somewhere on there, and just a fat guy.
I do love the fact that you can just see my sword and shield in the background.
Did I think I told you that your dress is done, right?
No, you didn't.
Yes, the sleeves has been cut. We got the V-neck cut out, and I stitched it up. Marie did the sleeves for me since I don't know how to use a sewing machine, but I do the hand stitching on everything else.
Whoa!
But there was not really enough material for the headpiece. So you can either use what we came up with, or you're gonna have to wait till we can find a hat that you can actually use.
I probably will end up doing both.
So yeah, pretty soon we'll post a picture with Caddy with the Zelda sword and shield right there.
Hopefully in the full outfit.
In the full outfit. You do need to find the leggings for it, and your long sleeve white shirt.
That I can do. You know that pigtail thing you got me a while back? The pigtail wig?
I'm sorry. Mr. Miles is about to kill me.
I'm cosplaying as Link.
And then twerk for the camera to the Green of Town soundtrack. And she's going to be cosplaying. Oh, go ahead, sweetheart. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Nah, I'm going to be cosplaying as Link.
Richie, I definitely agree with that. I agree with that. If there's in the picture, there should be. I should have a small cigar, drinking a cup of coffee with an empty bottle of Bailey's. That's my favorite thing.
I feel like I need to be in the background and just shooting something with the phaser.
Yeah, maybe we'll have you off to the side, holding a phaser like a Charlie's Angel.
Yes.
And Mr. Bell, to go back to you, she's going to be cosplaying as a female version of Link, but not Linkle.
Fuck that.
Because as far as, Link is a video game character who can be played by any sex, so who cares who cosplays as him?
Yeah. And then Linkle, which is the female version of Link, and why is that the name? I have so many questions.
Because it's a Japanese thing.
But Linkle.
Yes, but remember, there's also the character of Tingle. And if I know you haven't done it, but there's a couple of Tingle games.
Actually, I played one or two.
Where a lot of the characters have that EL or LE end to their names to relate to Tingle.
Also, I try to forget Tingle exists.
I can understand that, but the Tingle game I have, freshly picked, Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land Adventure or something like that. It's a very funny game.
Well, I don't doubt that, but I just try to forget that Tingle exists in general.
And Richie is reminding you to not pull a Michael Burnham and hold the phaser correctly. Because there's an episode in Star Trek Discovery where the main character, Michael Burnham, it's only like a half a second long, but she briefly is pointing the phaser in the wrong direction. Like she's holding it with the end, the gun part of the phaser where it comes out, pointing at herself.
Oh.
I'm trying to see if I have anything I can use as a prop, but I can't find anything offhand.
Do you not have any of your numerous amount of Nerf guns?
I can't get to them right now.
Your what? Your numerous amount of Nerf guns?
Besides, we already talked about this. I was going to give some of the Nerf guns to your cousin.
True.
Yeah, Caddy and I used to go to the park, and we'd have massive Nerf gun fights because we had like 3 or 4 guns apiece, and we just shoot darts at each other. I think I am understanding what I did to make her like phasers so much.
You can be taught.
What also doesn't help that your grandfather had like 50 guns, real ones, and your Uncle Don had like 50 guns. Everyone on my mom's side of the family pretty much owns a gun or 2 or 3 or 4 or 20. Hell, the only gun I owned for a long time was one that my cousin gave me, who ironically is also named Richie.
Awkward silence.
I don't know what else to say. You're part of this. You're on the live stream. You can carry a part of the conversation.
I'm eating.
I'm drinking.
Eating takes more energy than drinking.
Yes, but I figure with how often you talk, you've learned to talk and eat at the same time.
Surprisingly, no.
All right, chat. Now we're relying on you. You guys post something to say that you want in the chat, or that you want to talk about, or you can, join the chat too.
Well, there's always my tried and true method of musicals.
I don't know. You know me. I've only seen like a handful of musicals, not including Disney films.
Because I could go off on hours about just a singular musical called Hamilton.
Yes, I know exactly that you could do that, and you have ad nauseum.
And that's because Hamilton is amazing, and all of the songs are amazing. There's very little actual spoken dialogue because 90% of the fucking musical is literally back-to-back songs. Instead of having spoken parts that go to a song, it is literally interlude, just repeated, and it's amazing.
Sorry, I'm going back to the chat. Richie's like, it's ironic. I hate guns, but I love the phaser. And I think one of the reasons is because the phaser is actually like a utility tool as much as it is a weapon. To me, it's more like a knife than it is a gun because it has so many different purposes, whereas a gun kind of only has one purpose.
Richie, no. If I were to sing my favorite song from Hamilton, I would end up singing the whole musical.
Mr. Miles brings up the Book of Mormon, which he's never seen. Have you seen the Book of Mormon at least?
I have not seen the Book of Mormon. I've seen the
Wow,
guy who...
we have a musical that I've seen that you haven't.
I have seen the guy who didn't like musicals, though.
No, Mr. Miles, guns don't have lots of purposes. They have one purpose, and it just happens to have the same effect. It kills what you pointed at, like the TV.
And also, just so Richie can know, my favorite song from Hamilton is actually taken by two songs, because I can never choose between them. It is the Reynolds Pamphlet and Satisfied. And the Reynolds Pamphlet's my favorite just because, I'm sorry, when you give me a song where most of the song is just repeated, well, he's never gonna be president now, never gonna be president now, never gonna be president now, never gonna be president now. One less thing to worry about, that's one less thing to worry about.
Well, why don't we talk about a musical that I actually like, and that's Repo, the genetic opera.
I showed that to one of my friends, and I kept trying to get her to watch it, and eventually she finally went, fine, I'll watch it. And then she goes, if you had just told me this was a rock opera, I would have watched it so much quicker. Like, no, I need you to watch it and expect a horrible shit from it.
But yeah, I can't believe that my favorite musical is one that actually has Paris Hilton in it. I mean...
I was talking with my mother last night. We were talking about different musicals, and we got on a talk of Hamilton. And she just goes, well, what's your favorite musical? Hamilton or Phantom? And I just stood there and looked at her and just went, yes. You can't make me choose that. No. Why would you try something like that?
Yeah, maybe I'm going to do a Twitter poll. What's the best musical out of these two? Hamilton or
Phantom of the Opera.
Phantom of the Opera.
Well, Hamilton's going to win because it is everywhere, and it just came out on Disney+.
Richie and Mr. Miles are both trying to say that guns have other purposes, but no. And yeah, Mr. Miles, I definitely miss the old Animaniac songs. The guy who voiced Yakko occasionally has done updates to certain ones. Like he did an update to the President's song, and he did an update to Countries of the World, I believe.
Yes, he did.
I don't think I've ever seen Tom Sawyer, Richie. Have you?
Second, anyone says Sawyer, my immediate thought is Veronica Sawyer from Heathers. And of which, my favorite song is Meant to Be Yours. And maybe the fact that it's the chaotic hot dude singing about how he's going to murder a school. Sorry, I said chaotic. I meant psychopathic.
Is anyone else shocked that one of her favorite musicals is Heathers, which involves a lot of violence and destruction of school property?
We, the students of Westerberg High, will die. Our burned bodies may finally get through to your society turns out slaves and blanks. No thanks. Signed, the students of Westerberg High. Goodbye. We'll watch the smoke pour out the doors. Bring marshmallows, we'll make s'mores. We can cuddle and smile while the fire roars. I was meant to be yours. We were meant to be one.
And this is where I get taken down for a copyright strike.
Now, here's from where I will now have Meant to Be Yours stuck in my head for the rest of the day.
Yeah, see, Richie is saying Tom Sawyer is the best musical of all time. 1973, starring Jodie Foster. Now that you say that, I don't think I've ever seen it, Richie.
Now I want to point this out. Hamilton in general.
And then Richie's giving you a bunch of clap emojis.
Thank you. Why did I go into an Echo Rose voice?
If you want to do something, maybe we could do a thing where you sing a song from one of your musicals, and I'll post it onto the channel each week. I can do it.
Voice is not like, good.
I could just have it like as a picture of your avatar, and like put a microphone near it or something like that, and just have you sing the song or whatever song you want, and I'll make it so that I don't care if those ones get monetized or not.
Well, bring marshmallows, we'll make s'mores. We can smile and cuddle while the fire roars. I was meant to be yours. We were meant to be one. I can't do this alone. Finish what we've begun. Yes.
I hit the end broadcast button and somehow was able to put a frame that says, this stream has been cut off due to content violations. Right then.
Father, no. Finish what we've begun.
I think it would be better if you did Zydrate comes in a little glass vial.
Zydrate comes in a little glass vial. A little glass vial? A little glass vial. The little glass vial goes into the gun like a battery. And the Zydrate gun goes somewhere against your anatomy. Sorry, I'm having to remember the lyrics for that one.
Or
meant to be yours, which I have memorized.
I don't know. Maybe that's something we could do just for shits and giggles. Maybe the few people in the chat could say if they think they'd like to hear more of the Vile Child singing.
Against your anatomy.
I wouldn't be able to. If I did it, I wouldn't be putting the music to it. It would just be her singing, because the music would get the content ID like as soon as possible. And I'd rather her, even if I don't make any money off of it because I can't monetize now anyway. I don't have enough subscribers. I still don't want the other people to make money off of it.
I'm just trying to think of why. It's like I'm trying to think of any song that is not from Newsies, and the first thing I think of is immediately Newsies.
Richie's asking where he can see Hamilton.
Disney Plus. Disney Plus, they have the full thing on it. They also have Newsies.
And Jitsi is saying he's not into musicals, so his opinion isn't valid. Yeah,
no,
I'm not really into musicals either. There's only been 2 I've ever enjoyed that I've seen, and that's Repo and Shrek the Musical. Oh, and I found this guy recently. I'm going to post him soon. He's a little beat up, though. I might have to do some changes. He's got a hole in the back. So either I sell him as is, or I sell him with some slight seller modifications.
Newsies on a mission. Kill the competition, sell the next edition. And nope, that was not also the tune. I don't remember the tune right now. Holy shit. Someone who just watched Newsies recently, I cannot remember the fucking tune. Ow!
I'm trying to think, what else did I pick up recently that I didn't leave at the house? Because all the other stuff I picked up recently, I left in the house. I left at the house. Oh well.
There's just no way that we can win. His cards are epic beasts. He deals too well because he's from another time. Listen, both of you, you're gonna take card games. He's gonna rewrite history unless we break his massive monster into pieces. Homies, we've been through so much stuff. I had to hear Jason rapping. That was rough. Now it's time to take this sucker down. Come on, guys. Now it's time to blow doors down. I hear you, Jaden. Now it's time to blow doors down. So make your move, cause I'm throwing a face down. Okay, just make sure you don't summon a gay clown. Now it's time to take this sucker down. I'm not singing that line.
What was I going to say? Oh, since a lot of people here are Star Trek fans, do you think they should do a Star Trek musical episode, or did they? I think they already did that for one of the short treks, didn't they? But I'm talking about like an actual Q episode where Q just forces everyone to sing. Because I think that would be hilarious.
I would actually watch that episode because I would find that funny. Wait, Mr. Miles, did you know the song I was singing? No.
Do you agree with Mr. Miles? The best musical will always be South Park until they make a second South Park movie.
We're gonna beat ya, oh Paradox. No doubt about it.
Have we ever watched the South Park musical?
As far as villains go in anime, I hate to tell you,
Caddy.
you're just cliche. Huh?
Caddy, have we ever watched the South Park musical together?
I don't think we have.
South Park movie, bigger, longer, and uncut?
No, we haven't, but you have showed me Oh Canada.
No, it wasn't Oh Canada, it was Blame Canada.
It was Blame Canada. Sorry, my brain is dead if you can't tell.
Yeah, but I think the version I showed you was the Robin Williams version that he did during the Academy Awards, I think it was.
You've shown me both.
Okay.
Gonna take my Pharaoh's throne. All the cards your trap cards on, but you're not gonna take my Pharaoh's throne. My Pharaoh's throne. My Pharaoh's throne. You flip all the cards your trap cards on, but you're not gonna take my Pharaoh's throne.
Yeah, but I think we need to play. I need to play for you. What would Brian Boitano do? Oh, here's something I've had for a long time that is completely useless because it doesn't really work. Can you guys read that? If I can get it with the screen reflecting it too much.
Yep.
My Stop Smoking Coach. It's a video game on the Nintendo DS. So yes, Nintendo does everything.
It's Nintendo. Are you surprised?
Yeah, but see, like this, when I picked it up, this is going into my collection. It's one of the old GoBots. I also
stop smoking. Mr. Miles. Mr. Miles, stop smoking.
Now, one of the things I liked about the smoking is just the fact that it's the letters SMO and then King, and my initials are SMO. So smoking is smoking. Sorry. And when because I went to the swap meet earlier this morning, I didn't find anything really to add to the store. But I, as I said, I got the little GoBot guy, and I also picked up one of these old transformers from the guy. Unfortunately, this is one of the ones where it's supposed to plug into another transformer right there, and it's supposed. This is like the back half of the thing. So they're not in the best of condition, but I still collect G1 stuff when I can find it. And if I already have one, but the new one I pick up is in better condition, I add that one to my collection. So this is going to go in my little G1 collection. And what else did I get? Oh, one of the guys at the swap meet who knows me just gave this game to me for free. Need for Speed Carbon for the PSP, but he gave it to me for free because the case is broken. So I gotta see if I can fix that before I sell it. Yeah, that was do you remember Dave at the swap meet, sweetheart? The guy that had the big area.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's the one who gave me the game. He was just like, "Yeah, you'll probably be able to do something with this." Yeah, they're easy to fix, Mr. Miles. They're just a pain in the butt because I have to take the time out to actually. Because I don't know what you use, but I tend to use liquid plastic, mostly because super glue tends to the fumes when it's drying will stain or make smudge marks, sometimes on the disc itself or the clear part of the case. So someone showed their tits to your PSP, Mr. Miles? Dumb joke. I don't know why I laughed. What else did I get? I think everything else is the bag's empty. I think everything else I've got recently is still at the house. Although I do have a nice item I'm going to put on consignment for somebody. And you can tell it's going to be on consignment because, well, one, it'll be in the store category called consignment. And two, it's definitely not something I tend to usually sell. It's a big old cowboy hat.
My brain, for some reason, immediately went to Keston Howard, who you would have no idea who that is.
I'm sure I have no idea what you're talking about how you could play a PS1 game on a PSP, Mr. Miles. I have no idea what you're talking about. None whatsoever. Zero clue. I don't know how that type of thing would be possible. You think I convinced them?
No. I think you needed to say more. Did not add enough water to this.
All right, I'm gonna finish this cup of coffee and then I'm gonna turn the cam off, and you're gonna have to entertain folks for a few minutes while I exit the storage unit and get back to the car. So the CNA stream can have its end part.
You will be left with me. Beware the torment.
Oh, they actually had an official. Oh, she just ended. Pain in the ass, child of mine. They did do an official version of being able to do that. What was it like? What is the Sony version of their little store? Because I know the PSP did have internet capabilities because I used to play it online through my Wi-Fi. Yeah, but when the PSP was real popular and a lot of people were doing that kind of stuff is when I actually worked for Sony, and they did not like it when people would do that. Um, yeah, in fact, on certain versions, if you play uh, God of War, I think it was Chains of Olympus on the PSP. Um, when you beat it, look in the credits, and you might see my name. If you happen to know my real name, which I think Mr. Miles definitely knows my real name because he's got my uh, Skype handle. Probably, but I just remember reading the newsletters. I mean, okay, granted, I didn't actually work for Sony. I was working for a company who contracted us out to Sony. Um, but when I was still, going through security because I had a little badge and everything that had to be scanned in whenever we went into the Sony buildings, and uh, uh, since there was a whole bunch of us, I'd just read the little newsletter that Sony had, and they'd have a little thing in one of the back pages from the Sony legal department, and it would be all the people that they had sued for how much or whatnot, and all the victories they got about, little a-holes who were selling on eBay or Craigslist, flashed PS1s with a bunch of stuff that shouldn't have been on the memory cards, that kind of stuff. And yeah, I mean, there was like a guy in Orange County that his fine was like $50 million or something like that just for selling modded PSPs on Craigslist. So yeah, and Sony was proud of that kind of stuff, or at least their legal department was. And no, my real name isn't Vile Mike, although Mike is my middle name, or at least Michael is. So it's not a Michael J. Crawford. It's more of a S. Michael something, rather, last name. So, and now I have no idea what else to talk about. I need more subscribers so people can give me stuff to talk about on these streams. No one wants to just sit here and watch me drink coffee for an hour. Yes, I do remember that. But one of the reasons they are actually going after him for it was because he was not just using the PS2 OS, he was actually using the prototype PS2 OS. And the reason he was real reason they were going after him was not necessarily because he produced a custom version of it. It was because of how he acquired the prototype version of it. Or at least that's what I was told when I was working for Sony. But yeah, I think they would have still gone after him regardless of why he did it or that he made it public. But yeah, from what I was told, it was actually not the one found on the hardware for the PS2. It was the one of the prototype versions, and he definitely should not have been able to acquire one of those. Yeah, the prototype PS2s were actually kind of awesome. I wish I was able to get one. They had a couple of additional features that aren't found on the normal PS2s, like they had abilities to record gameplay footage onto one of the hard drives, or even brief segments onto modified memory cards. They could format memory cards. I mean, full formatting. They're actually pretty cool pieces of hardware. But Sony does not let you take those with you when you let go. Sorry, I'm going back to read Mr. Miles' comments. Yes. See, Mr. Miles knows the full story. I haven't read the story in a long time, or at least I wasn't talking about it. I haven't done anything for Sony in probably 14, 15 years. Wait, how old is the Vile Child? Okay, probably closer to 13 years. Yeah, Mr. Miles actually knows what he's talking about, because Linux was what the PS2 was originally going to be based around before they decided to go with another idea. And howdy, Indie Tiger. Greetings and felicitations to you as well. Although I can actually pronounce it correctly. Which, if you saw the video. Andy, if you want, why don't you come on up, because I'm almost done with my coffee, and I'm going to turn off the cam so I can go downstairs and leave the storage facility so I can go have a cigarette. Caddy was on for like the last hour, but she decided to flee like a coward and leave me in the lurch when I said that. And I am officially out of coffee and alcohol. Oh, and yeah, the alcohol of choice this time was hashtag not sponsored, Screwball, peanut butter flavored whiskey, which I could not taste any of the peanut butter. All right, have fun with your uncle. See if I can bring up the guest, because now we have Indy.
Hey, how's everybody
Howdy,
doing?
Indy.
Hi, Mike.
I'm gonna put you on the spot because I'm turning off the camera so I can go have a cigarette now.
Okay. So I can't respond to the chats, guys. So I'm just gonna talk for a while, I guess. Well, I guess I can respond to the chats if I read them. Let me go with a lot of comments here. So I see Richie and Patty is in the audience. Mr. Miles, how you doing? It's Sunday here around 1 o'clock on the East Coast of the U.S. And so I'm drafted. Not really sure what I want to talk about. There's a site you guys might want to start checking out. It's called Hero X. It's about innovation by everyday people and engineers and things like that. So challenges are posted all the time. And if you've got a good idea and you've got a good presentation, go ahead and, put together your presentation and, put it up there. I am currently working on one for clean water from salt water. So that's something that you might be interested in. I don't know. Just whatever you think is, like I say, the challenges are very. The first one I did was for the Venus probe, and Richie Poole. I'm not sure you want me to sing. I have a terrible singing voice. I'm usually flat. But interesting suggestion. Caddy is abandoning me, so thanks, Caddy. I appreciate that. And of course, Mike, put me on the spot so that he can smoke. So, what can I say? Except hi, Mr. Miles. Hi, Richie Poole. And is that everybody? I think that's pretty much everybody right now. I can't bring anybody else
Yeah,
up.
it's not like I get a lot of people watching my streams yet.
Yeah, not yet, but they'll get.
It's only the 10th CNA stream. I think, and maybe the 20th stream altogether.
Okay, so that's pretty cool. So it's good to be on the ground floor with some of these guys. You know what I mean? Uh, I did just watch Greetings and Felicitations or the Squire of Gothos. That was pretty good. I think you guys should check it out. Comment, like, subscribe, and different people have different opinions. So let's hear from you guys. Other than that,
I should have probably gone into it a little bit more in the video, but the video was already long enough. And I actually had to render it like 6 times because it kept having issues every single time I'd play it or I'd render it. And it's because my laptop sucks so much.
yeah, I've been having trouble today too with my phone. It's been buffering quite a bit. I tried several times to super chat on Andy Trekker's live stream and just could never get it to work. So I don't know what's going on there. Mr. Miles, you can subscribe to Sci-Fi Dog Lady. She's pretty good. She's new, and she's only got about 120 subscribers right now. I'm enjoying her content. Hero X.
Who is that again?
Sci-Fi Dog Lady.
What type of content does she make for the most part?
Right now, she's doing some Star Trek. She's also in the first season of Star Trek.
Okay.
And she's doing a couple of other shows. Westworld is one of them. So I haven't watched Westworld. I've seen the movies, but I haven't watched the show.
Yeah, I'm just going through and reading Mr. Miles's comments right now because I never had that. I mean, I've had that model of PS1 because it was the 1001 series, SPCH, I believe. But yeah, they patched it out fairly quickly because why give people that kind of abilities on a crappy PS1, at least crappy as of today. But Sony did a lot of changes to the PS1 over its lifetime. I mean, the SPCH 1001 model is also considered the audiophile version because it actually has the audio ports for auxiliary in the back, and it's a lot easier to hook up to a sound system. And at the time when the PS1 came out, that was kind of really cool for people because the PS1 was almost as cheap as a high-end CD player. And it was people were hooking them up to their stereo systems just to play music, not even to play games.
That's pretty cool. I know a lot of these gaming systems have a lot of capabilities other than just playing games. That's for sure.
But that's one of the things, like, when I first heard about the Nintendo Switch, I was actually really excited because one of the things they said about the Switch was it was going to be a dedicated gaming console. Not like the Xboxes or the PlayStations, because all those play movies and CDs and all these other things, streaming, not just playing games. And in my opinion, a dedicated gaming console is what is important. I mean, I want my gaming console to just play games, and I want it to play good games.
Yeah, that's true. You try to pack too many things into one device. You get some pretty crappy products sometimes.
No, if you're talking, when I was talking about the PS1 just now, Mr. Miles, I was referring to the PS1, not the PS2. But previously, when we were talking about the ones, I think you're right. We were saying PS1, but we meant PS2 when we were talking about the Linux stuff.
So I'm not into gaming myself. I don't have the eye-hand coordination for that, unfortunately. I was a little too old when the first gaming system came out to get into it. So,
sorry, just to go back to Mr. Miles for a second. The Vita was kind of good, but it also didn't last. I mean, just the DS was so much better than the Vita when it comes to gaming, just because it actually survived longer than 3 years. Yeah, the PS2 had the Indy, but the PS2 had the optical audio out, but I'm saying the PS1 had the the standard video audio jacks in the back. The 3 RF style ports in the back originally. Yeah, but when it comes to the Vita and the DS, the games are what matter. It's not necessarily the hardware of the console. I'd rather have a great game with shitty graphics than a shitty game with great graphics. Like, Andy, are you a fan of like B movies?
Yeah, I do. I do like B movies. I especially like the kung fu movies from the 70s.
All right. Would you rather watch a modern day movie with a name actor who acts real good but fights like a bitch, or would you rather have an old B movie from the 70s with the shitty camera work but the great fighting and a half decent storyline on each?
Oh, absolutely, the second one. Yeah, the better fighting and the crappy dialogue. Yeah, that's the best. You see all these movies now where people don't know how to fight. And you see TV shows. There was a TV show in the early 80s, I think it was, called The Ninja with Lee Marvick, who was a good actor, but he couldn't fight. He couldn't fight for shit, and they always pulled a close up on his stunt double when he was trying to show this young kid how to be a ninja, and it was like, oh, no, that's bullshit.
It reminds me of the old Kung Fu Legend Continues episodes where the guy that played the son was just so horrible at everything. And I'm like, he's supposed to be the son of a Kung Fu master?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. And then I went and watched, I went back after I studied Kung Fu for like 6 years and watched the original Kung Fu, and even that wasn't that good. I mean, David Kane knew like 3 things, and that was it.
David Carradine.
David Carradine, yeah. Qui-Gon, yeah, Kane, the character name. It's like he knew how to do a throw and a couple of other things, and that was about it. I was like, that is not really good TV.
Just to go back to Mr. Miles, since he's still talking about the Vita and the PSP, I 100% agree with you, Mr. Miles. They should have done that, but they didn't do it. And because of that, it died. So they were stuck with half-decent games with really good graphics instead of good games with okay graphics.
Yeah, and Jitsi, you're right. It was called The Master with Lee Van Cleef. That's correct.
I don't think I've actually seen that one, but I'm familiar with the genre. I've been kind of on a B movie craze. Each night I've been watching an old B movie just because for shits and giggles, like the original Puppet Master and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, they're good because they're unintentionally good because they're so bad. They're bringing Kung Fu TV series back, and it's on CW. Oh, that's going to be great. And it's going to have a female lead.
Well, see, I don't care if there's a female lead because I've actually practiced martial arts, both Taekwondo and karate, and I've been in tournaments where a woman half my size kicked my ass just because she had more skills. So as long as her skills are there, I'm not going to care if she can kick a guy twice her size's ass.
Right, because it's possible, exactly. If you've got the better skills, then obviously you have the advantage.
Yeah. I mean, you just imagine me at 12 years old, because at 12 years old, I already had my goatee. I didn't have my shaved head at the time, but I was 5 foot 10 inches tall, about 180 pounds, and I got my ass handed to me by a 13-year-old girl.
Damn.
She was only about a year older than me, but she was like 5 foot nothing. But she was just so quick that she scored points on me before I could even have a chance to block.
Yeah, that would be my issue too, because I can take a beating, but I am not fast. I am strong, but I am not fast.
But yeah, Mr. Miles is right. They're giving CW too much credit about actually having people who can fight and act. Although I did watch just recently the first 2 episodes of the Batwoman TV show.
Okay. The one where the girl Ruby Rose quit, that one?
Yeah, but the only reason I'm watching it is because I'm trying to. I never got around to watching DC's Infinite Crisis.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to watch all the shows up to that point so I can watch Infinite Crisis, and that I didn't realize Batwoman was one of those shows.
Oh, okay.
So once I get up to episode 9 for Batwoman, I'll stop, and then I'm going to watch Infinite Crisis. But I'm only watching like one episode every other day or so. So it's taken me a while to catch up for all of Flash, all of Green Arrow, all of Legends, and I know there's one I'm missing.
Supergirl, I think, is the one.
Supergirl, yes, thank you.
Yeah, that's a lot to get. That's a lot to get caught up on.
Especially when you missed like everything from the last 2 seasons.
Yeah. Oh, I stopped watching The Flash a long time ago.
But one thing I've noticed a lot is there is a shit ton of speeches.
I hadn't noticed that.
If you're watching, maybe if you're binge watching, you'll notice. Like, I've been watching at least one episode every other day or so.
Yeah.
And I noticed it mostly in Flash and Green Arrow that there are at least 1 to 3 inspirational speeches per episode.
Wow, that's a lot.
I'm just like, yeah, and I'm like, holy shit! How much positive reinforcement do these people have to give each other every fucking episode just so they can go out and do hero shit?
You wouldn't think that much. You would think, oh, I've got this. I don't need, we just got to figure shit out.
I mean, I hate to give spoilers for, I think it was, I don't know what season it was, but it was the season where Flash's daughter's there.
Yeah.
There's the big bad villain, Cicada. Literally, his plan at the end is to give him inspirational speech after inspirational speech after inspirational speech, trying to convince him to do the right thing.
I remember watching part of that season, and that's where I stopped. Yeah. So that was a weird one. So you got Mr. Miles, you got your ass handed to you by a woman who was twice your age and size. Okay, in Shotokan. I mean that
Yeah,
happened.
but I'm like, I read that comment, but I didn't really say anything because I was like, did he mean actually twice your size? Because that's a big woman. At least I don't know how big Mr. Miles actually is, but
He's a hobbit.
oh, so he's like Annie Trekker.
Yeah.
So wait, would that make Mr. Miles Sam to Mr. AT's Frodo?
Yes, that would. That's a good thing. Now he's claiming he was.
Okay. All right, that makes more sense. Oh, now we got a fire truck going by. Sorry.
That's okay.
But
drinking game going on for each time anyone would apologize on the Flash.
yeah, but you'd be drunk after 2 episodes.
I always thought that the drinking game for TNG should have included Data whenever he used a contraction.
Yeah, but they actually caught on to the writing about that about the 2nd season. So by the 3rd season, you wouldn't be able to get drunk.
Yeah. Well, that's too bad.
But Mr. Miles, when I was 12, I was a big kid. Like, it was kind of funny. In the 3rd grade, I was the 2nd shortest kid in my class. But by the time I hit the 4th grade, I was the 2nd tallest kid in my class. I shot up about 12 inches and put on a good 50 pounds in about a year. I went through puberty like nuts at that time.
That's crazy. And you were still not even the tallest kid in your class? That's amazing.
No, there was one girl that was taller than me.
Wow.
But I'll be, because I don't care about embarrassing myself because I'm already showing my face. When I was in the 3rd grade, I was actually so small that there was this girl named Becca that used to pick on me. And one day when because she was a kind of a big fat girl and I started making fun of her weight because she was making fun of how short I was, she actually picked me up and put me into a trash can. And then years later, now that I'm a big guy, when I was a freshman in high school, there was a senior who was making fun of another freshman who was, again, a small kid, but the senior wasn't that much bigger himself. So I picked up the senior and I put him into a trash can.
I could never put anybody into a trash can. I had no coordination skills whatsoever. I couldn't even beat, and I was probably 155 pounds. I couldn't beat a kid in wrestling that was like 90 pounds. I just didn't have the coordination.
Yeah, Mr. Miles is saying that the girl he fought was like Brienne of Tarth.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Well, I remember I was on the varsity wrestling team back in high school, and there was only 2 kids in my weight class because at the time I was about 300 pounds. And then I go to a tournament or a meet. I said tournament, but it was actually, they called them meets. And one of the schools had a girl in my weight class. And I had to wrestle this girl who was like 6 foot 4 inches tall and about 320 pounds. Wow. It was like trying to wrestle a female Andre the Giant for me.
Wow. That's incredible.
And I still won the match, but it was like, you're in high school, so I'm thinking I can't lose to a girl.
Right.
And because, kids are merciless, you're a sophomore, it doesn't matter. Because usually I would just wrestle the same 3 guys at the other schools that were in our weight class. But suddenly this girl appears and it's just like every one of the guys had to fight her. And she did legitimately beat some of the guys. But it was just like, you're always, the first time you do it, again, you're afraid that, I can't lose to a girl. I'm going to get made fun of. And now it's like, I know for a fact girls could whoop my ass and I wouldn't complain about it because if, as long as they got the skills.
Right, exactly. I mean, as long as they're legit, you're fine with it. And something in the Navy would happen too, where the women would be line handlers, and where you'd tie up to the pier, and these women who were required to do something, they put on all this weight in order to be able to do it, because the line is, it's pretty heavy shit, and you got to pull this thing across through midair. So if you're required to be able to do something, you figure out a way to do it.
Sorry, just to go back to the chat for a sec. Mr. Miles asks because I'm a Metal Gear fan. Yes and no. I haven't played any games really since Subsistence. I played a little bit of Metal Gear Solid 4, but I haven't played. I never beat it, and I definitely haven't played 5 or any of the versions of 5. But I do have in my personal collection like Metal Gear 1, Metal Gear 2, and Snake's Revenge for the original Nintendo. And I have Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 2 of the versions of 3 on PlayStation. Various consoles.
Hey, Mike, I'm going to jump off. I got to get some food.
All right. I'll probably end the stream soon anyway. It's already been an hour and a half.
All right. Well, thanks for having me
joining, though, man. And thanks for manning the stream while I was transitioning from storage unit to car.
Sure, absolutely. Happy to do it.
All right, so let's see. Going to Mr. Miles's question. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the cam because no one cares what I look like. If 2 people fight, 1 man and 1 woman, and they're of equal skill and training, do you think one gender would have an advantage over the other? If you're talking about statistical norms, I honestly don't know, because while statistically speaking, a man is going to be statistically speaking, a man is going to be larger and stronger with more musculature, whereas the woman is going to have a higher pain threshold as well as more agility and flexibility. So I think if you're talking about averages, it would probably lean a little bit more towards men than women, but I'm not exactly 100% sure on that. I'd probably split it about 60-40, but I definitely wouldn't give it like a man would have 100% chance of kicking ass every single time. Mostly because the equal skill thing is going to be so hard to quantitatively show. Hopefully that answered your question. But I do know that this argument was made a lot on like a couple of months back on a lot of people's videos and stuff. Let's see. I think a man would actually have more advantage if both people had 0 skill in fighting. And that would be simply because a man is more likely to use brute force. But you know what? Then again, in my experience, especially if there's people watching, a man tends to fight to impress. A woman tends to fight to kill. So, but yeah, if they have no skill whatsoever, like Mr. Miles is now pointing out, a woman will have a speed advantage, but unless they know to use that, they're not going to, they're going to lose. And that's exactly it. If they have no skill, a man tends to be able to use his strength to his advantage because strength is more instinctive than agility or movement or speed. But if you're talking about both people that have equal fighting skills, like they're both third degree black belts or seventh degree black belts or something along those lines, then I think the margin for equal skill uh, shrinks to more equal terms at that point. But it's, again, at the point of having, if both of them have no fighting skills, the man probably has the more serious advantage. Well, Jitsi, if you ever watch any of those videos online that people post of people fighting, just watch the difference between two unskilled guys fighting and two unskilled women fighting. I've seen videos where two unskilled women will fight and they'll pull chunks of hair, use their nails to dig into flesh. Guys tend not to do that kind of stuff. And not that I've did a lot of fighting in my youth either. Hopefully you guys bought that. Jitsi, try looking up some videos of like hillbillies, like the American hillbilly type fighting. It's almost more comical to watch because they're like two peacocks preening themselves. The way they act right before they actually strike a blow, and once they strike a blow, it devolves into a slap fight or a bad imitation of a wrestling match. You never see real life fighting like you see in movies. You never see that in real life when it comes to unskilled people fighting. All right. Anything else we should talk about, or should I go ahead and just end the stream? Because it's been about an hour and a half, a little over. And I don't need to stream the entire day. Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Mr. Miles. A lot of people don't know actually how to fight. I've seen people, well, not just seen. When I was in high school, I got into a fight with a kid. And by fight, I mean he threw one punch, and that was the entirety of the fight. Because the way he punched me was, here, I'll turn on the camera for a second. He punched me like this. So his fist was like this. And Mr. Miles can tell you, if you're going to throw a punch, you never hold your fist like this. Because he punched me and broke his own thumb. And that ended the fight right there. I don't know why you're not seeing Mr. Miles chatting. Maybe, did you accidentally block him? Because I know I accidentally blocked one person. And also, Mr. Miles is suggesting changing it from top chat to live chat. Right now, I'm not actually watching the YouTube channel. I'm watching through Streamlabs or StreamYards, which is why I can't actually. I think that is just normal live chat when they do it this way. The funny thing is, Mr. Miles, when the kid punched me like that and broke his own thumb, I did not throw a single punch. All I did was insult the kid, and he insulted me back, and that's what, started the whole thing. But we both got suspended and nearly expelled from school because even though there was witnesses saying there was only one punch thrown, because apparently I broke his finger or I broke his thumb, I was responsible for injuring him and I got suspended. Because zero tolerance policies at schools suck. All right, but I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. Thanks for showing up, everybody. Thanks again to Indie Tiger and, of course, Caddy for being on the stream. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Go buy stuff at SD GameSwap. Check out the mugs since they're going to be on. I'll try to post the Mickey Mouse mug later today. Or not later today, later this week. Because one of the things I'm planning on doing is right now, I've been trying to maintain 150 listings on the eBay store, but I'm gonna, because one of the things I'm trying to do is if I get to 200 subscribers, I'm gonna do like a 10% off sale. If I hit 120 or 225 subscribers, I'm gonna do 15% off, and if I actually hit 250 subscribers, I'm gonna do a 20% off sale throughout the entire month of August. So one of the things I'm going to do is I've prepared a bunch of listings to go live on August 1st. And I'm going to try to have that number to hit from 150 to 200 listings starting August 1st. But unfortunately, it takes time to get everything ready, to take the pictures, to come up with something clever to do for the description if I decide to do that, all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, hopefully I can get some people to, bribe people into subscribing by offering them a discount at the eBay store. So that's what I'm going to try to do. Paint the wall and live stream it drying. You know what? You'd probably get more people watching that than one of my live streams, Mr. Miles. So, all right, later, folkses, and have a good insert relative time period here.